In the wake of James' strange encounter with a cow or cow-shaped creature, and the inconclusive results of Farmer McCall's herd being, well, mutilated, so many questions raced around the island, between the engines and their crews, the Fat Controller's administration, and the island's media. The situation would only get stranger as the weeks went on. Despite metallic fragments of an alloy of aluminum and tungsten being recovered from the asteroid's crash site, the researcher behind the study said in a statement to the press that they only found natural materials contained from moon rocks rather than the real truth. Yes, there is space matter present in the small rock, but only silicon and calcium, your standard moon rock materials, he said during a conference. But the island's press had more questions for the researcher, but they were all rejected, and the case was never spoken of. But to some, it was still an ongoing matter. James was still recovering from his encounter with the cow creature. He also couldn't help but feel he was being watched, constantly. Whilst taking a small local passenger train, he couldn't help but notice a man in a black hat and suit standing on the platform. Not boarding his train, or even looking at his tickets or the train schedule, but staring at James specifically. "Driver?" James asked, murmuring, as the man stood barely visible from the crowd of people walking in front of him. After the people cleared, the man suddenly just disappeared, as if he vanished within the crowd of passengers. "Something wrong, James?" asked his driver. No, nothing," James replied. Later that night, Edward was taking a night goods train. He had trucks of flour for the bakeries around town. He was enjoying himself as he took his time running down the line, humming to himself a little tune. Do, he's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land, making all his nowhere plans for nobody. As Edward was singing, he wasn't looking around in front of him. Then he saw a figure lumbering across the tracks. His lamp barely lit up the silhouette. "Oh, what is that? Brakes, driver!" His driver wasted no time and applied his brakes, and Edward came to a stop. The figure stood on the opposite track, but Edward couldn't make out any details, except it was a very tall, lean, and its eyes flashed yellow. The figure let out an eerie sound before lumbering away, and a spotlight came down onto Edward. "What the?" he exclaimed. But before he could say any more, he was blinded and went unconscious. Edward awoke in a dimly lit shed. His driver and fireman lay on the floor next to him, unconscious. "What's going on?" Edward says. A tank engine puffs towards Edward and met Edward's buffers, a blank expression on its face, as a light began circling around him. The engine spoke softly. "Do not struggle. Just make this easy on yourself." "What do you mean? What are you trying to do?" Edward questioned. "This did not happen. This is only a dream. You are asleep." "What are you trying to do? What are you hiding? Are you tracking that creature?" Edward demanded an answer, but the light kept circling, and the engine only repeated, "This did not happen. This is only a dream. You are asleep." Elsewhere on the island, morning came, and the Fat Controller became concerned as Edward had not returned. "Edward has not come back from his train. I am not taking any risks, so we will organize a search party immediately," he said. They wasted no time. Harold circled Edward's route when they spotted his goods train on a siding. Further down the siding, they spotted Edward on the tracks. "There he is," the Fat Controller said. Harold landed, and the Fat Controller and his men woke Edward up. "Edward, what happened?" "Sir?" Edward said groggily. When questioned, Edward's driver and fireman had no recollection of the last 12 hours. "Why did you venture off the track, Edward?" "Sir, I don't know." The Fat Controller kept searching for answers. Unbeknownst to the group, a mysterious black tank engine quietly slipped away down the track, completely unseen by all of them. Edward's memory was foggy, and he apparently damaged himself from the siding. He was sent to the works for repair. The other engines in the meantime were all confused as to why Edward had such a strange adventure the previous night. Apparently, he has no memory of how or why he ended up in the siding, explains Thomas. Like his memories have been completely wiped, as well as his crews, Henry states. I think this has to do with the asteroid for some fishy reason, Gordon explains. Even a lead scientist involved in the discovery was somewhat silenced. Silenced? Percy squeaks. Mean like scared? Or being forced into not saying a thing? Precisely, James chimes in. The others turn to look at him. He'd been quiet the whole time, especially for the past couple of weeks, only to talk about it now. That was no cow. It was something masquerading as a cow. And a cow was mutilated from a Cole's farm. It's all connected, and someone does not want us drawing conclusions. James took a minute to look around at his friends. Take care on your evening trains, chaps. Something's lurking around there, and someone does not want us finding out about it. Henry was scheduled to take the Kipper that night, though he was wary of encountering bizarre alien creatures, or worse. As the guard blew his whistle at Burnham, a worrisome Henry left the docks with his train. Fog engulfed his travels. He could barely see in front of him. Oh, this fog is thick, he thought. In the distance, he saw a red glowing light. It was a red signal that came upon him in the distance, and his driver slowed him down to a stop. That's odd, his driver said. There's no other train scheduled to pass on the line this evening. Maybe there's an accident up the line, his fireman thought, but the two of them were wrong. The clanking and banging of an engine's wheels was heard with steam off, and a dark tank engine-like shape cut through the fog. Henry could barely see the engine's expression on its smoke box across from him. The train passed, pulling a long blacked-out coach and a cargo van, where he could hear something inside the van, growling and groaning and banging from within. It sounded like no animal he had ever heard in his life. What on earth was that noise? Henry whispered. The train disappeared down a curved track, out of Henry and his crew's sight. Henry and his crew jumped from the sound of the signal dropping, but continued onwards. Something very mysterious was happening on the island, and nobody knew what was going on.